Welcome back to another Clash of Code. I'm Captain Coder. We're gonna hop into a 15-minute coding challenge here. If you're not familiar with it, Clash of Code is a little mini programming competition on the website Code Game. Public matches get paired with up to 8 other competitors, other programmers, to solve a programming problem. So programming problems with inputs and outputs. So you have some set of inputs and you have to produce some set of outputs. Typically you get some sort of problem statement, and then that problem statement describes what those inputs and outputs are. Let's see if we can, let's try refreshing this page here. That was interesting. Join a clash. Here we go. All right, we're hopping in. We only got 6. 2 people hopped out. Fastest mode. So typically it is a competition. You're trying to get the fastest answer, get a code in there that passes all the tests as fast as you can. I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. We do only have 15 minutes to solve it, but I'm going to try and talk my way through it. So let's look at this. Given a string, return a new string made of 3 copies of the first 2 characters of the original string. String may be any length. If there are fewer than 2 characters, use whatever is there. Okay, so this one, relatively easy problem. This is actually a problem that shows up on the AP Computer Science A exam practice tests. I've seen this a lot on those practice tests. So pretty straightforward. You're gonna have some input, hello. You need to get he. So we're gonna do he. We're just gonna find the substring of the first 2 letters and then output that 3 times. Pretty simple. So not even that interesting of a puzzle, but let's try it. I think the easiest way, so there are constraints that says if there's fewer than 2 characters, you just repeat the whole string. So I'm gonna create a little extra string here called to repeat. So I'm gonna have a string that is my characters to repeat, and the simple answer is get the substring of the first 2 characters, 0, 2, to get me that substring. And I'm not sure, let me read the description of the C# substring. I'm not sure if I'll get out of bounds if I have less than 2, but let's try it here. Let's see, retrieve the substring. The substring starts at a specified character and has a specified length. Returns, a little hard to read this, returns exceptions, out of range exceptions. So I suspect if my string is not long enough, I'll get an out of bounds. A string that is equivalent to the substring of length that begins at start index, if start index is equal to the length of this instance and length is 0. All right. You get the empty string if the length is 0, essentially is what it's saying. All right, let's just repeat this thing 3 times. 2 repeat plus 2 repeat plus 2 repeat. That should get us the first one, but let's check it out. Yeah, so that passed the first test case. Hopefully they have some test case in here that will fail for inputs that are shorter than 2 characters. Let's find out. These all pass. I'll be a little bit disappointed in this puzzle. Okay, so here's one. Test 3. Let's go ahead and see what they have. So to get the output for test 3, I'm gonna do a console.error.writeLine. On Code Game, using error is how you do debug printing, so it doesn't interfere with your submission. And let's just output what str is on this one here. And I'm assuming it's just the letter, okay, yeah, single character is what my thought was. Just the letter H. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna figure out, I'm gonna take the max of 2 values, so int len is gonna be math.min. All right, so I'm gonna do my string.length or 2. So whichever's smaller is what I'm gonna go with. Either 2, so if 2 is smaller than the length of the string, I choose it. Otherwise I choose the length of the string, and then I'm gonna say len here. Try that again. So I won't go beyond my bounds. All right, so now I passed that test case. Let's run them all. Let's see how I did here. All right, I passed all of these test cases. This one was super easy. No loops necessary, just straight up. You just need to know how to do a string manipulation, a substring essentially of it. So we got it. We wanted to generalize. All right, so I have 10 minutes. Let's generalize this problem. So I'm gonna write a method. And what it is going to do is it's gonna, let's generalize all the inputs. Repeat portion. And so it's gonna take in a string to repeat. It's gonna say int num chars. So it's the number of characters up to some length, and then int times. All right. So let's make it a little bit more interesting here. Let's generalize it. So this, I gotta keep my time in mind here. I still only have 10 minutes. All right, so I'm gonna do a little comment here, summary. This is how you do documentation comments in C#. Probably super overkill here. So given a string to repeat, the number, string to repeat, return a new string that contains the characters 0 to num chars from to repeat, and repeats them. I'm gonna change this to n because I can say n times. All right, so we're gonna create a more generalized version of this, just so we can do, so we can like do a little bit of problem solving here. This would have been I think this would be a far superior puzzle. Is say, okay, well, you're gonna receive several inputs. You're gonna receive the word that you're gonna repeat, the range you're gonna repeat, and then the number of times you're gonna repeat, and then you can get that, and so you can have a more interesting puzzle than this one here. This one's fine. Like I said, on the AP Computer Science A exam, which is in Java, you will see this problem on practice exams. And I think it was on like the 2017 AP exam. So good to know how to do this type of problem. All right, so we have a string to repeat. Again, we want to figure out our length. I like this. So let's do the same thing with our length here. So I'm gonna say, well, I want to find the length. So I'm gonna start at 0 and go to some length. And so instead of 2 now though, I'm gonna do n. All right. So given some string, if that string is shorter than the thing that we want to repeat, we are going to instead do just that string again. Okay. Then we're gonna pull out the string that we're gonna actually repeat. And I've already named this called to repeat. So naming is one of the hardest things in programming. So I'm gonna come up with a different name. I'm gonna just call it subster or substring. So this is like the chunk of string we're gonna do. So we're gonna do to repeat dot substring 0 to length. All right, so now we just take that chunk and then we have to loop that many times. All right, so for int I equals 0, I is less than n. This is wrong here. Someone's yelling at me right now in the comments. This should be num chars. Num chars here rather than n. This is the number of chars we want. Probably in a problem statement, this would probably be called something like L for length. But we'll go with num chars, and then we're gonna repeat it n times. So I is less than n, I plus plus. And then we're going to build up that string. So we need to create this is what I call an accumulation problem. This is an aggregation problem. So we need at the end of the day, we're gonna return something that I often call the accumulator. So our accumulator starts out as the empty string. And then in this loop, we build up the result. All right, so each time the result gets appended with our substring. All right, and because we don't know the number of times we're gonna do it, we need this loop, which makes it more general. Okay, so this was a lot more code than this one, but now I should be able to just do console.writeLine repeat portion. The string we're repeating is str. The number of characters we want to repeat is 2, and the number of times is 3. So we have a more generalized solution now. All right, let's see if our test cases still pass. Looking good. First test pass, second test pass, third test pass, fourth test pass. All right, not bad, not bad. Let's see, is there anything else we can do to generalize it further? Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit more tricks. I got 4 minutes left, so I got some time to do this. So I'm gonna create something public static string repeat. All right, so check this. This is a thing you can do in C#. Repeat first 2 is what I'm gonna call this one. And so this is gonna take in the string to repeat. And it is actually gonna just use this as a helper method to repeat a specific portion. So now instead of writing this whole function here, this whole method, I can just say this is equivalent to calling repeat portion with to repeat 2, 3. This is a little trick you can do. Several programming languages have this. You can do this in JavaScript, Python, Java. I think most modern programming languages these days you can do this. This was not, I don't think you can do this in C, although I'm not a C or C++ expert, but this is one of my favorite things in C#. They make it really easy to do this here. All right. And then up here, my problem becomes repeat first 2 with str. All right, we can run this again, see if we still pass everything. So doing some little minor refactors as we go, just to simplify, generalize, and hopefully help you learn a little something. See different ways to approach this. Oh no, the network status 504. I may not be able to submit this. 504 network status, that's like a server error. And yet I'm still passing these. Oh, I have an exclamation point here, so maybe it didn't actually go through. All right, 2 minutes left. Let's do one more generalization if we can. So notice in this one, I have essentially, you always start at index 0. Let's do one more generalization where I can say what my starting index is, just for fun, Public static string repeat portion, and we're gonna do what's called overloading the method. So we can actually have to repeat int num chars int start index and then int n. So it's essentially excuse me, essentially we now have a start index, so we can start in the middle of the string here. So it's going to be almost identical here, almost identical. The one thing is, what do we do if we start in the middle of this thing? So we're going to start at the start ix, and rather than the minimum of the length or num chars or num chars, we need to make sure we still only want num chars, but if we go too far into it, so it's length minus start index. All right, so length minus start index. So if we're starting at index 0, we don't take anything away. If we're starting at index 1, we want it to only be one, to have one less. All right, so minus start index. And I think everything else remains the same. And then this repeat portion can actually use this repeat portion as a helper. So this becomes to repeat num chars 0, because that's always our start index, and then n. So we can just hand this off here like so. And let's check our answers. See how we did. Although I would want to write better tests to verify that this is actually working. But these are the sort of generalizations you can do here, depending on if your problem statement was slightly more complex. Let's go ahead and click submit here. Oh no. We've got coding games, networks, being a little finicky with us. So hopefully this goes through. It'd be great to check out some of the other solutions. Let's see if I can hit refresh here to get us there. Otherwise, all right, cool. I just wanted to make sure I can share my code. I always like sharing my code. I imagine this problem statement was so easy. I'm surprised we didn't get submissions for everything. I'm assuming there was just like network issues. I think this was kind of fun. I feel a little bad. I always feel bad getting less than 3 stars. I didn't think it was that fun of a problem. It was a little too easy. And I'm gonna say it's way too easy for this. There was no loops. In my mind, these should be to help you practice things. So this one was helping you practice string manipulation. So I'm assuming it was like substring, that sort of thing. You got to figure out how to do a substring. But I feel like these should always have variables, loops, if statements. So there was no logic, it was just loops. So I think it was kind of fun, too easy. Problem statement was very clear. It's very, very short, very easy. Test relevance seemed good, or ideal. And so I'm gonna submit that. Let's check out Don Quixote solution. They did the for loop solution, similar to what I did. So let's get this portion of a string, and then we'll just add it. Ooh, Python's cool. This is really interesting. They didn't use substring. They actually had a loop that says go through and add each character, and then in Python you can actually multiply strings and that cause it to repeat. That's fascinating that they didn't do a substring on this, but I guess that was to help with the exception of what do you do if the length is 0 or 1. Interesting. But yeah, Python, fun fact, you can multiply strings and that causes it to duplicate that many times. So he times 3 turns he. And then Hasso 5703 had a partial solution. Fascinating. Theirs was in C. Nice. They do a scanf to read in the string. They have letter 1, letter 2. They're trying to do a loop 3 times and just use printf to print out C. All right, so they print out the character. They're missing a case where I think they have 0 letters here. I'd be interested to see. So they have a loop that goes 3 times. They're saying if letter 2 is equal to question marks, that must be like their initialized value. So if there isn't a letter 2, just do letter 1. Else do letter 1 and letter 2. And I'm assuming the reason they got 75% is that one of the test case must have the empty string in there. I didn't see, but that's their solution there. All right, pretty simple puzzle. I hope this video was helpful. I hope this video was interesting. I hope going through and figuring out how to generalize it was nice for you. If you like this video, if you want to see more Clash of Codes, hit that like button. If you want to know when those videos are going to come out, hit subscribe. And you're welcome back anytime. Have a beautiful day.